steak, the very best beef steak you can buy. Now consider a pork premium ribeye steak, a pork ribeye that is amazing and juicy and tender and oh so perfect. I used a knife, but let me just put the knife down and go after this with a fork. Oh yeah, you're going to be able to cut through this with a fork. And then once you've cut through it with a fork, well, you're also going to have to eat it because it's that good. This is one of my favorite products Rastelli brings to QVC. It's also one of your favorites, which is why we made it a hot pick. I'm going to take a small bite because otherwise I'd still be chewing. This is extraordinary. It's juicy, it's tender, it's full of great flavor. I don't even season these when I cook them at home. With my mother's birthday and Easter are very close together. So if my brother and sister and I all send flowers for Easter and her birthday, her house looks like a greenhouse. So what I do is I send these pork ribeyes, and she loves them. You're getting 8-ounce premium pork ribeye steaks. These are on sale. They are a great easy pay opportunity and no auto delivery. Only 2,600 of these to go around, so let's invite in our own personal butcher. Ray Rastelli is standing by live via Skype. And Mr. Rastelli, you know one of my most favorites. These are extraordinary. Talk to us about premium pork ribeye steaks.
David is my favorite too, and there's a reason for it. Now, these are premium pork, which means this comes from the Pennsylvania Dutch country. The Amish folks raise these. These are people I've worked with for 47 years. But it's the ribeye. You know the ribeye of beef is my favorite steak, but the ribeye of pork is actually my favorite piece of pork, and there's a reason for it. Look at all the beautiful marbling that's inside there. And David, of course, that piece on top that you and I talked about, that's the decal.
The decal.
Just like in the beef. And then, of course, the center. But look at the marbling. But here's what I love about this particular. First of all, it's the largest we've ever done, David, at 8 ounces. So it can easily feed 2 because there's no fat at all on it. And I want you to see how it is trimmed. We trim these completely. There's no fat on the top. There's no fat on the bottom. It is completely trimmed. And the marbling you see is what makes it tender. But what I've done on my block here, David, is I've made lots of things with it. Now, when you get a piece of pork that's as tender as this, think about it. You can make it as a pork steak, but let's say you want to bread it and you want to cook it like a pork chop. You can do that. I've got fajitas here. I've got kebabs. I've got a pork fried steak, which I'm going to show you. And my newest and my greatest of, I think, of all these pork inventions is a boneless pork ribeye strip. And all I've done is cut it into beautiful strips. David, I barbecue it just like I would my barbecue ribs. There is nothing any juicier, tender, or more flavorful than that. So I've had a lot of fun with this because it's so versatile. So when you get them in your freezer at home, you can do lots with it.
Now, if you want to pound these, bread them, fry them, and make a little schnitzel, look at this. We did a beautiful country gravy to go over top. Oh, my word. If that doesn't make you hungry, your eyes are closed. Go ahead. We'll wait while you open them. This is extraordinary. Don't miss out on this. You can do a pork parmesan. You can saute these with vegetables. You can put these on sandwiches. I love them because with my low-carb, low-sugar eating plan, this is straight-up protein, right? I can just enjoy a whole, well, 2 of them. And they are fantastic. And many times, Mr. Rastelli, I'll just pan-sear these. They cook really quickly.
Yeah, and look how big these are. I want you to see how thick these are, right? These are a full 8 ounces, and when you cook 8 ounces, you're going to see they don't shrink. You're going to get 8 ounces of meat. In fact, what I've done here, David, I've cut 1 in half, and I've made 2 actually out of 1 of my ribeye steaks. Now, let me show what I did with my chicken fried steak. I did it actually in the air fryer. And all I did, David, I took 1 steak. So just think about it, 1 8-ounce steak, and I cut it in half, and then I pounded it. Look at what I got out of 1. This is all out of 1 ribeye steak. I mean, think about the size. That's 1. That's why I say it's the largest we've ever done. And of course, I like doing just what you do, David, except I'm making it for 2. And of course, a little bit of that country gravy right over top is really what sets it apart.
There's that gravy.
Everyone will be tender and juicy.
And fork tender, Mr. Rastelli. Fork tender. You probably won't even need a knife with that.
No, you certainly will not. And David, here's those ribs I was talking about. I want you to see these. Look at how beautiful each one of these ribs. All I did was cut that ribeye down into 5 or 6 strips. I've got now what I call my boneless pork ribeye strips. It's as good as any baby back rib that you might ever want to cook. So I've got a beautiful barbecue. And of course, don't forget the kebabs. Kebabs are really simple because it's boneless. All you've got to do is cut it into beautiful cubes like I've done here. Put that on your grill. The key with grilling meat is it's got to be tender. It's got to be something that's going to be fall off the bone tender. And because these are boneless, they're going to actually fall off the stick.
Now, Mr. Rastelli, Racina's joining us, and she's never had your pork ribeye steaks before, so I cut her some small pieces. Talk to me. What do you think?
Okay, so obviously juicy, incredibly tender, but so flavorful and savory and delicious. I mean, what a great alternative. Something that I feel like not a lot of us do at home. Like, we're like, okay, beef, steak, or chicken. This is fantastic.
And I saw you cut it with your fork.
I did.
I mean, this is fork tender. You're going to, I mean, if you've ever complained before that pork chops have been too chewy, they've been too tough, these are not. These are right out of the package. Now, best to cook these from thawed, Mr. Rastelli?
It is. It's always best thawed, whether it's a pork steak or a beef steak. And I'm kind of cutting one, David, down here because I want you to see how far these go. This is 1 8-ounce portion. I'm easily going to get 2 meals out of this. So you and your significant other, I mean, look at how many pieces I've gotten out of this. But everyone comes individually vacuum packed as well, right?
So
we've got
now,
that.
2,100, all I have left to go around. There's no auto delivery on these. These are all shipping immediately. You want to take advantage of these now. They're individually packaged. They're good in the freezer, Ray, for how long?
For 12 months, and you can see how big these are, right? These are really nice and thick. It's the largest we've ever had. The typical ribeye steaks we do, pork ribeye steaks, are 6 ounces, so think about that. These are 8 ounces. They're really going to go a long, long way.
So good. And they're so full of protein.
Is that Philly sandwich that you made, the mac and cheese with the broccoli rabe?
With the provolone and the broccoli rabe,
yeah.
Yes. You can do some really fantastic things with this. And Ray, the best part is these take sauces very well. If you want to do with this, say barbecue on the grill. Perfect.
Yes.
They're great on top of the stove. Many times I'll just cook. They cook so quickly I cook them right on top of the stove. Sometimes if I have breaded them, I will start them on top of the stove and then finish them in the oven. I'll Parmesan cheese bread them. And then put them in a little avocado oil on top of the stove, brown them, and then finish them in the oven.
Yeah. David, I hear from everybody, they said, first of all, they always say, I can't believe it's pork because it's incredibly tender, it's incredibly juicy. And look, I can cut it with a fork. This is not a magic fork, just right through it. Now, you can't do that with normal pork, right? You just go right through the center of that steak. I mean, look at that. That really, you know you've got a tender piece, but anything you do with chicken, whether it's a chicken cutlet, a chicken parm, anything you do with veal, like capuzzole or cacciatore, you can do the same with this, except it's going to be more tender and it's going to be a lot more flavorful. And certainly, you can see it has no fat at all on it.
And the fact that you're able to, let me reach out in here and grab one, that way it ships. You're going to take this and let it thaw, and then you're going to cook it either in your air fryer, on top of the stove, in your conventional oven.
Air fryer.
Many times what I do with these is I let them thaw a little bit. I pound them just a bit. Then I dip them in egg.
Yeah.
And then I coat them in ground Parmesan cheese.
Yeah.
Put them in a skillet with a little avocado oil to brown them, and then I finish them up in the oven. They cook super fast.
Sounds incredible.
This is incredible, and it's super high in protein, super low in carbohydrates, unless, of course, you use breadcrumbs, right? So this is what it's all about. 1,700 of these left to go around. Mr. Rastelli, the only thing I wish is that our presentation was longer, because I would keep eating.
We're going to follow the table around.
Well, Rosina, enjoy. Take someone for the road.
Yes, I will. Absolutely. Thanks,
She's going to
Ray.
remind us
See
of
you
other
later.
days coming up. And Ray, thank you so much. We look forward to seeing you on Wednesday with something very special.
Oh, something very special. I can't wait. Thank you, guys.
Well, stay